This is the performance summary for week 2 of 2025. Let's start by inputting the starting and ending balances. So the starting balance would be the one on Friday, Jan 3rd, where I had 31,026. And the ending balance was on January 10th. Balance on that day was 29,373. So last week was a pretty rough week. In this account I lost $1,600, which is a percentage loss of negative 5.33%. And let's see the theoretical trades on my website. So last week, these were the 5 trades that were done. And so the theoretical loss was negative 5.41%. So pretty close to actual. And let's look at each trade one by one. First one was BK, Bank of New York. In that one we lost 3%. And so what's happening here is the system is looking at relative strength of this particular stock in the universe of the S&P 100 stocks. And so it was selected as one of the top relative strength contenders. And then it looked for sell-off, which it had in the weeks prior, and so it bought on the morning of Monday at the open, and it sold off during the week and ended up here on Friday, and we lost money. Last week was kind of a rough week for the markets overall. It started off the overall market started off kind of weak actually into Thursday, but then on Friday morning there was a employment report that showed US job market having a lot of strength at the end of the year, and so that stoked inflation fears again, and there was a pretty large sell-off on Friday in all stocks, and so the system lost money. Okay, the next stock is BKNG, Booking. And this is another stock that the system felt had good relative strength compared to its peers over the past several months. And it was in a sell-off condition. So the system bought here on Monday and sold here on a Friday. Lost money there. And the third stock was Netflix, lost 5.75. So uptrend over the past many months. And we bought the dip here and lost over the week. Friday was particularly bad for Netflix. Next one is Oracle. This was the worst trade of the bunch. We lost 7.42%. So here's the strength in the months prior, and here's the weakness in the recent past. Entered here, sold here. And the last one was Tesla, lost 6.72. Here's the pattern here. And this is the trade. And now let's input the P&L into the cumulative tab. So we went live with the strategy in June of last year, 2024. So since going live, the cumulative gain at this point sits at $3,324. And the system, my account is up around 13% since going live. And the equity curve looks like this. So it's come off from the peak roughly 10.5%. So this is the equity curve in the purple line of the weekly reversion strategy going back 10 years, back to 2015. And the gray line is the S&P 500. And if we look at, and this is the action that's happening right now, in a bit of a drawdown. If we look at the underwater graph, we can see in the gray area is the S&P 500's underwater, and the purple area is the system. Let's look at the S&P first. And obviously that one's pretty rough, just buying and holding S&P 500. And if we look at the weekly reversion strategy, here we are right here, roughly a 10.5% peak to valley drawdown. And if we go back to 1994, we can see the worst drawdown was back in 1998 or so, at around negative 22%. And so relatively speaking, the 10% drawdown we're in right now is nothing really too major, and I consider it typical noise. So that's the performance summary for week 2 of 2025. If you're interested in learning more about the strategy and how it works, please visit my website at returnstream.com. I've got a link to the website in the description box below. Thank you.